All right, ready to dive into Macbeth?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Today we're looking at Act 1, Scene 5.
One of their most crucial scenes in the entire play, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is our introduction to Lady Macbeth.
Right, and we really get to see her ambition.
And her ruthlessness, like right off the bat.
Wow, yeah, she's not messing around.
So the scene opens with her reading a letter from Macbeth.
About his encounter with the witches.
Yeah, and their prophecy, him becoming Thane of Cawdor and eventually king.
And that letter is like throwing fuel on the fire of her ambition.
Oh, absolutely. She's already thinking 10 steps ahead.
She even says, "Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised."
It's like she's willing it into existence.
Exactly.
But then there's this interesting twist.
What's that?
She starts expressing doubts about Macbeth.
Oh, you mean that line where she says, "Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way."
Yeah, she's worried he's too kind, too gentle to seize the throne by force.
She sees it as a weak...
Like he doesn't have that killer instinct.
Exactly. She thinks he's going to let this opportunity slip away.
And then, boom, a messenger arrives with news that King Duncan will be arriving that very night.
Talk about bad timing.
Right. Her reaction is so classic. Thou art mad to say it. She's clearly thrown off guard.
Like all her careful planning is suddenly out the window.
And this is where we get to one of the most famous speeches in the play.
Lady Macbeth's soliloquy.
Chillin' stuff.
She starts by invoking all this darkness and imagery of death.
Like the raven himself is horse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements.
Foreshadowing much.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And then comes that line that always gives me chills.
Which one?
"Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty."
It's like she's asking to be stripped of her humanity.
Yeah, to become this force of pure ambition and ruthlessness.
She wants to silence her conscience.
To remove any obstacle that might get in her way.
And she's not afraid to get graphic about it.
What do you mean?
You know that line, "Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse"?
Ugh, that imagery is so powerful.
She's literally trying to harden herself against any feelings of guilt or regret.
And then she takes it even further with that line about her milk for gall.
"Come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, your murdering ministers." It's a complete rejection of her feminine nature.
She's willing to sacrifice anything to achieve her goals.
Even her own nurturing instincts.
She's craving darkness both literally and figuratively. "Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold."
It's like she wants to hide from the consequences of her actions.
Both from the world and from herself.
Exactly. And then right when the tension is at its peak, Macbeth arrives.
And she immediately switches gears.
Right. All charming and welcoming. "Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all hail hereafter."
It's like she's already manipulating him.
Oh, she's a master at playing the game.
Feeding his ego, reminding him of the prophecy.
Planting those seeds of ambition even deeper.
And then Macbeth mentions that Duncan is leaving the next day.
And Lady Macbeth's response.
Chilling. "Oh, never shall sun that morrow see." There's no doubt what she's planning.
She's made up her mind Duncan is going down.
And she starts giving Macbeth very specific instructions on how to act.
"Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under tent."
Deception is key.
Right. She's basically telling him to be a wolf in sheep's clothing.
And to make it crystal clear who's in charge, she ends with this. "He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch."
Provided for? That's such a chilling euphemism for murder.
No kidding. There's no doubt that Lady Macbeth is the mastermind behind this plot.
She's calling the shots.
So we've gone from Lady Macbeth reading a letter to plotting regicide in the span of a few lines.
It's a whirlwind.
But what a fascinating whirlwind.
Absolutely.
We've seen Lady Macbeth's ambition, her ruthlessness, and her willingness to do whatever it takes to get what she wants.
And this is just the beginning.
Right. This scene sets the stage for all the tragedy and bloodshed that's to come.
It's a reminder that ambition can be a dangerous thing.
Especially when it's combined with a lack of conscience.
And Lady Macbeth seems to have both in spades.
We'll have to see how it all plays out, but I have a feeling it's not going to end well.
For anyone involved.
So buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be back to unpack even more of this scene in a bit.
Sounds good. I'm ready for more Macbeth.
Me too. Welcome back. Let's dig deeper into the scene and really unpack it.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that letter and how it sets everything in motion for Lady Macbeth.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that prophecy from the witches is all she can think about.
She's totally fixated on it becoming a reality.
But here's the thing. She's worried Macbeth isn't up to the task.
Right. She doesn't think he has the guts to actually take the crown by force.
And yet she's so drawn to the idea of him becoming king.
It's almost like she's projecting her own ambition onto him.
Oh, totally. I think there's a lot of that going on.
Like she sees this opportunity, and she's not going to let anything stand in her way.
Even if that means pushing Macbeth further than he's comfortable going.
Exactly, and that's where the manipulation comes in.
Oh, she's a master manipulator.
Like when she greets him with all that flattery, great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both, by the all hail hereafter.
She's stroking his ego, playing on his desire for power.
And it's working like he's eating it up.
Of course he is. Who wouldn't want to be told they're destined for greatness?
But it's all part of her plan to get him on board with her scheme.
To convince him that this is what he wants, even if deep down he might have doubts.
And let's not forget about those doubts. Earlier in the scene, she talks about how he's too full of the milk of human kindness.
Yeah, that line always gets me. It's like she's afraid of his compassion.
Like it's a weakness that could get in the way of their ambition.
Exactly. She needs him to be ruthless, to be willing to do whatever it takes.
And that's why she calls on those spirits to unsex her.
To strip away any trace of femininity that might hold her back.
It's a pretty radical idea when you think about it.
Oh, totally. She's basically saying she needs to become more masculine to achieve her goals.
Which is kind of sad when you think about it. Like she's internalized all these societal expectations about what it means to be a woman.
And she's willing to sacrifice a part of herself to fit into that mold.
It's like she's saying power is a man's game and I have to play by men's rules.
But it's not just about gender roles. It's also about her own inner darkness.
What do you mean?
Well, in that soliloquy, she talks about wanting to make her blood thick to stop up any access to remorse.
Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage to remorse. Ugh. Such powerful imagery.
It's like she's trying to block out any feelings of guilt or compassion.
To become this unfeeling machine capable of carrying out this murder without a second thought.
It's scary how quickly she embraces that darkness.
But it's also kind of fascinating, right? Like this glimpse into the darkest corners of the human psyche.
Totally. I mean, Shakespeare was a master at exploring the complexities of human nature.
And Lady Macbeth is definitely one of his most complex characters.
No doubt about it. She's ambitious, she's ruthless, but she's also vulnerable in a way.
Like she's aware of the moral implications of what she's doing,
Yeah.
but she pushes those feelings aside.
Because her desire for power is just that strong.
And she's willing to do whatever it takes to get it.
Even if it means sacrificing her own humanity in the process.
Okay, so we've really gotten to know Lady Macbeth in this scene.
Oh yeah, she's definitely made an impression.
But I keep coming back to that line about her wanting to be unsexed.
It's such a powerful moment, right?
It really highlights the gender dynamics at play here.
Like she's acknowledging that ambition and ruthlessness are seen as masculine traits.
Exactly. And she's willing to reject her femininity to gain power in this world.
It's almost like she's saying, fine, if I have to play by men's rules, I will.
But it also makes you wonder if she's sacrificing a part of herself that she might regret later.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely a sense of tragedy there.
Like, is this true empowerment, or is she losing something essential in the process?
It's a question that haunts this play, I think.
Especially with that image of her milk turning to gall.
Yeah, come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, your murdering ministers. It's such a visceral rejection of her nurturing side.
Like she's trying to cut off any trace of compassion or empathy.
Exactly. She needs to become this unfeeling force to carry out her plan.
It's both terrifying and fascinating.
Oh, totally. Shakespeare was a master at exploring those dark corners of human nature.
And Lady Macbeth embodies that darkness in a way.
But she's not just a one-dimensional villain.
Right. She's complex. She's driven. She's even vulnerable in a way.
You can see the wheels turning in her mind, the struggle she's going through.
And it makes you wonder what led her to this point.
Like what experiences shaped her worldview, made her believe that this level of ruthlessness was necessary.
Shakespeare doesn't give us all the answers, but that's part of what makes it so compelling.
Exactly. It leaves us to grapple with those big questions about ambition and power.
And the choices we make in the face of temptation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Act 1, Scene 5, I think it's important to remember that this is just the beginning.
Right. The seeds of tragedy have been sown.
And we'll see how those seeds grow as the play unfolds.
We've witnessed Lady Macbeth's ambition ignite, seen her manipulate Macbeth.
And heard her chilling soliloquy that reveals her inner turmoil.
But there's still so much more to explore.
The consequences of their actions, the corrupting influence of power.
And ultimately the question of whether they'll achieve what they desire and at what cost.
So keep those questions in mind as you continue reading Macbeth.
And let us know your thoughts. We always love hearing from our listeners.
Until next time, happy reading.